Clair Obscur Expedition 33 smoked 2025 Game of the Year awards. Universal acclaim, very highly reviewed. Knight Silksong broke Steam, broke the Nintendo eShop, and the PlayStation Store. Over 7 million copies sold. Balatro, made by a sole developer. One of the biggest games of 2024. And here's the thing. These indie games, that was just a couple examples the past couple of years. They are doing it with very low budgets and small dev teams. For example, Expedition 33, Sandfall Interactive, had a $10 million budget, sold over 5 million copies at $50 a pop. Do the math there. The AAA model, where they have these massive ballooned budgets, these live service games for revenue flow, and really they are taking very little risks. It seems more and more just like a live service game or just a sequel. Think about your big franchises. Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, EA Sports, Madden. It's just the same games over and over again. The indie developers are taking all the risks with innovation. Imagine pitching turn-based RPG to EA Sports. Or even Balatro recently Slay the Spire 2, which was killing on Steam, by the way, pitching a poker-based roguelike deck builder. They'd laugh in your face. No major publisher would approve it, even if you wanted $100 million. Kernick, welcome back, brother. This is a passionate subject, if you can tell.
I was just gonna say, like, you hot over there or what? Take your shirt off. Let the ladies see the shirt. You sound like I've been. The irony is, I've been called the curmudgeon. You're just saying. I've been saying this. Everyone says I'm a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, like at the end of the day, like, you're absolutely right, dude. Like, and it's not just video games, and I'm not gonna ramble about anything else. But like, whether it's movies, whether it's comics, whether it's, like the indie is popping through. The giant conglomerate serving everybody. The Avatar movie that's for old people and young people and men and women and the kids all combined. Like, that shit's I don't think it's working anymore. And I think you got to get back to the niche-y for small pockets. Like, make the SpongeBob game for kids. Don't make the SpongeBob game for adults too. Like, make it for kids, and then make adult games for adults. Make Reservoir Dogs for people that like gangster movies. Make the Northman for the guy who likes the Viking movies. I think we need to start getting back. Like, let creators and designers like execute their vision without 17 other voices saying, okay, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about this? I mean, we've seen that through music, through everything, that usually the more voices, the worse off it is. Mortal Kombat was made by 4 guys, and we was talking about indie games. I mean, what's the most successful? Ready? Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
To answer everything I'm just saying, what's the greatest indie game of all time?
Clair Obscur.
The answer is very
Expedition 33.
No, but that might have been the most recent greatest game. The answer is probably the greatest video game of all time. It's also the greatest video game of all time.
It's Mario? It's not Mario. Mario's Nintendo.
What's the only other game that we have said on our top 100, if we ever release one, that maybe, when Slosser went on that rant, what was the only one that maybe would go in front of Mario?
I have no idea.
Doom.
Oh, wow.
Doom.
Wow.
Doom is an indie game.
It's
People
software,
don't think of it like
right? At first,
it's software.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was 4 bros with that worked at Square Disc or Sundisk, whatever it was, made their own company.
Yes.
It was both one of the only times in history that it was cutting edge technology.
Wow.
And you remember pushing the angle as far as gore, satanic crap, speed, whatever, and it was 4 guys.
Wow.
My point is, like, Minecraft was 1 guy.
Wow.
Undertale, 1 guy. You don't need 400 devs. You don't need sweat on the beer bottles. You don't need this crap. That can be good if you execute right, and I'm sure Elder Scrolls 6 will be great. I'm sure GTA 6 will be great. But, like, I'm sorry, there's been too many flops, not enough people getting fired, and too many hits on the indie side for me not to believe that this is the way.
I'm very impressed with your indie example there. Doom is one of the greatest games of all time, so I'm very impressed with that. So great job there. Speaking of Doom, John Romero and his wife, Brenda Romero, you know them, with Romero Games, they actually just had recently an interview where they were literally talking about the same thing that we're talking about. They were referencing the mass layoffs throughout these AAA development teams and the studio closures, and they said, in quotes, that it's crashier than the infamous North American video game crash of 1983. They both, mind you, worked through that 1980s collapse. So they're like warning that, like, hey, this is kind of unprecedented instability, and it feels worse. They literally say it feels worse than 1983. And they Romero was talking about that even Battlefield 6, which was a AAA studio, very successful, one of the biggest games of 2025, one of the highest selling games of 2025. They still had studios suffer immediate layoffs. So, dude, this is the AAA. You talked about how, like, these big Avatar movies, these big AAA games. We talked about how in the Grand Theft Audio video we did, how GTA 6 is going to be the ultimate AAA stress test. And it's going to do well. But these live service games and these sequels, these safe sequels where they just try to charge you here, there's in-game monetization, there's in-game currency, buy the pony, buy the horse armor. It's getting old and people are sick of it. And the indie games, this isn't new news. Indie games have always been around, and indie games and developers have done well in the past. Perfect example is software. There's indie developers who have, of course, broken out and turned into AA and AAA studios. However,
for sure,
indie games,
most studios were indies at
of
first,
course,
to be fair.
yeah.
You know, that's how they all
They are
started.
increasingly competing and sometimes even outperforming AAA games, notably in the past couple years, dude.
I mean, listen, right now, if you're a Twitter guy or if you're a, whatever your social media choice is, I mean, if in the horror world of horror movies
are
there's
blowing
two
up.
movies right now being, I think one's called Backrooms and the other one's
Obsession.
called Obsession or something. Yeah, they're both directed by YouTubers
Dude, it's almost
that had no money and no funding, and they made the $150 million, while a Star Wars movie maybe made similar money, but like with 100 times the budget, with 100 times the marketing budget. So it's like what I was saying before on the GTA video. It's about investors, and people don't think of it like, oh wow, I spent 135 million. I made 135 million dollars. I made my money back. It's like, no, you didn't. Like there's time value of money. There's marketing. There's investments. There's people's salaries. There's 401k payments that you made. Like it's not quite easy like that. You have to convince an investor to give you money because they expect a 4x, 2x, 3, whatever a bigger return, especially in the movie business. You're supposed to, that's why Jaws was so successful. It cost, let's say, 10 million. I'm making up numbers, and it made 100 million. Like it 10x the money. So now you can fund the studio. You can make now 50 movies with all that profit. I mean, that's the point. That's where Rockstar wasn't Rockstar always. They were a tiny company. GTA 3 explodes. They make so much money. Then GTA 5 shatters every record of all time. Vice City. I mean, they were printing money back then, and now they have the money to invest billions of dollars into a game. Elder Scrolls didn't really blow up until I would say probably Morrowind and then Oblivion and then now Skyrim. I mean, like they printed so much money with Skyrim that Elder Scrolls 6 can have R&D money.
I saw
for
something
days.
like Skyrim and GTA 5 still like outgross a lot of games even in 2025. They still sold like
Thriller
a couple
still
million
sells
copies,
more
dude.
records than most artists every year.
Right,
dude.
right,
It's just
right.
like classics are the classics, dude. But my point is like in like whether it's movies or whatever, like in my opinion, once you it's like a ship. We're trying to when Avatar the movie or whatever, or Red Dead 2 or whatever game we're talking about here, the Indiana Jones movie, it's a giant ship. You can't on a whim just decide. Like think about Halo. Before Halo came out, they remember we learned it was a warthog simulator. They just threw that in there. Like that became the coolest part of the game.
So
but like
great.
they didn't know what they were doing. Like because no one was in their ears saying, "Well, you can't do that. This is clearly the mandate. Stop trying to come up with cool ideas and just do what we're fucking telling
Right.
you." Like again, I go back to Mortal Kombat. It was 4 dudes that liked Street Fighter, and they were like, "You know what? That stupid dizzying mechanic in Street Fighter 2, we don't really like that. Let's make that the fucking ending, and then we'll kill the people. Like change the world, bro." So like I just feel like E33 was probably the game of the year last year. Well, it was. I mean, it wasn't probably. It was. It won all the awards.
Right.
And they found that fucking sound guy off of like SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm.
He had never made a fucking video game soundtrack in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like those people were picked up off the trash heap. I always go back to like Minecraft is one of the biggest video game success stories in the history of mankind. It was bought by Microsoft for $1 billion. It was made by one guy.
Mm-hmm. One guy.
I mean, think about that. Think about how many kids played that game. How many it became a movie with fucking Momoa and Jack Black. Like Undertale, I think is one of the bigger niche-y, but like, dude, at cons, you have people dressing up as those characters. That's a hardcore hit made by one guy. So it's like we need to get back to letting artists be artists, letting them fulfill their vision. The game you just covered the other day, Mia the Hollower.
Yeah.
Like that was someone's or a small team's vision.
Yacht Club Games, dude,
and
yeah.
they executed it, and they didn't try to please anybody or whatever. And
yeah.
Again, even if you only made $50 million, how much did it cost you to make this
Right.
game?
Well, yeah.
It's
What's
about profit
the
margin.
budget?
It's about
right.
So whatever.
And
It
listen,
ran forever.
yeah, well, like all the downsizing that studios have done, like the long development times, and
Look at Ubisoft. It's fucking bankrupt.
Oh my God, Ubisoft is a perfect example of bad choices and how the AAA model is failing. Let's look at Bungie too. They just canceled
Blizzard.
Blizzard,
you can go down the
Activision.
line.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bungie just canceled all Destiny 2 expansions. They are going all in on Marathon, a live service game. They are so out of touch
Terrible.
that they are
Terrible.
they are taking a unique experience in Destiny 2. There's not many gaming experiences like that. It's not a dead
I was
game.
joking before.
Still hundreds of thousands of players. They're doing well compared to other live service games. Now you have Marathon, which still has a very niche following, but it is about to be dead in the water. It's not quite.
It's money
It's
laundering.
not quite Concord. It's not quite Highguard. But there are AAA games after AAA games that have just been failing, and studios downsizing and failing.
You can look across the board, like I said, look at Star Wars. I mean, this was a brand that was untouchable, and now they've just people that just continuously don't fire people for failures, just let it go into the ground. And now you have Bungie, you have Ubisoft. They just keep trying to make things work that the market is clearly rejecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part where it's almost like I'm obviously kidding, but it's like almost as if they want to destroy the studios. It's almost because I just refuse to believe that these. To be a consultant in this world is like it's like for a video game studio, you can't just I mean, listen, I don't want to try and explain it, but it's funny you said the Romero is what they said, because at the end of the day, the 83 crash, it's essentially the ET crash,
Right?
And I have said multiple times on this channel, on this videos, whatever, I think the consumer in the video game industry right now, the current consumer is the most disrespected they've been since the ET.
Wow.
Because the crap we're getting for the prices we're paying, it's just garbage. And listen, if you're 23 and maybe you don't realize it because you don't know what you missed, but I'm 38. I'm about to be 38 years old, and I remember GoldenEye. I remember when Pokemon came out and FF7, all in the same year or within a year of each other. StarCraft, Diablo 2. I mean, these are titans that respected the consumer, that took time to release. Remember Blizzard back then? They would refuse to release a game. They wouldn't
would
even.
say when
They don't
it's ready.
care what people were saying, what social media was saying,
yeah.
which was way different back then. So maybe that's part of the issue. But they didn't release a game until it was a fucking masterpiece, and they didn't have any misses for that decade. 15 years. I mean, what miss can you even attribute to Blizzard? I would say Overwatch was a big miss. I would say they totally screwed Heroes of the Storm, and they dropped that pro league overnight, screwed all those people, fired everybody overnight. Essentially, they were waiting for the rule book for that pro scene, and they just screwed them.
Yep.
Like you said, Bungie, Ubisoft. I mean, the list goes on. And now you said you have hits with these smaller titles, and I'm telling you, it's going to start affecting the investors and what they do. Because why would they keep paying for these massive? Like Marathon, to your point, I'm joking when I say this, but is it money laundering?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you put that much money into a game that has that little players? Mixtape?
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me that wasn't pushed by other people? That wasn't an organic game. It was fucking horseshit. They have perpetual licensing for all the music. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So I'm just tired of being talked to like I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Slosser's a sharp, smart dude. You're not gonna fool him with your bullshit marketing and your bullshit he's going to tear he's the kind of guy on these forums that's going to tear your game to shreds. And he's going to be right. Mm-hmm. Even if he's a dick, he's going to be right. So
You're right.
I think the problem is the consumer's smarter than they've ever been. We have more information and access to the information we've ever been. And these video game people are getting as greedy as they've been literally in 40 years.
And dude, even just this year now, I mean, we saw this in 2024. We're seeing it. We saw it in 2025. And then let's look at this year. The top performing games are Slay the Spire 2 in early access. Past 5 million copies sold shortly after launch. Dude, 2 million copies in the first week. Subnautica 2, another one I just reviewed on this channel, crushed it. They're outperforming on Steam, especially these high profile AAA games, dude. And it's really something, dude. Mina the Holler, we just talked about, Kernick. I mean, that's been selling well, very, very low budget. So you're right, dude. It's a true testament.
Something's going to give.
Something's going to give.
I would say that for a decade they all really got away with the skins and the microtransactions before people realized
over
it was
a
predatory.
decade for sure. Yeah,
That shit's been waning, and I think they're used to bigger profits. They're used to bigger numbers, and people just want to buy the game and play a story. Like at the end of the day, we all can get the economics out of that. Crimson Desert might be a masterpiece, but you paid $60 and that's it.
right.
I'm sure. Was there a lot of microtransactions in there? Could you pay for skins or something?
No.
See, there you go, and that's good for us. But for a dev, for a big studio that's used to, Candy Crush, where the secretaries are putting, no, it's only $10, and they just don't realize that they're paying $10 every month for, 3 years, and all of a sudden you spent $387 on Candy Crush.
And
instead
that's
of
the model. I mean, look at Mike Ybarra with Blizzard and Diablo 3. Diablo 3 was ruined with that auction house, with that monetization in the auction house, where you could buy your way to a good item just if you spent money in the game, dude. Took no skill at all. It ruined the entire game. I still haven't recovered emotionally.
You didn't play D4 because of it. You were a Diablo guy. You didn't even play 4.
I haven't recovered from it.
The problem is with some of that too, man. We know our friend at Blizzard said one time that the Rainbow Unicorn mount in WoW made more money than the entire StarCraft 2 games sold.
Yeah.
So when if you're a dev, to be fair, if you're an investor and you see that, what are you going to invest your money in?
Right.
But the problem is now the consumer's sick of that shit, and now
these live service games are failing. Yeah.
There might be a reckoning. So and listen, you can only go to the well so long. At the end of the day, sometimes this stuff takes way too long to maybe correct in quotes and right the ship. But you can't. To quote Bob Marley, you can fool people, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
Nice.
So it's like eventually this is gonna and listen, we'll see who survives at the end. I think Nintendo's gonna be fine because they, as much as Z to A was a disgrace,
such a brand, dude. They have such a
brand.
Yeah.
But they still like the Zeldas, even though I didn't love the last couple, like they still are like respected. Pokemon makes more money from the outside. They don't even need to make money from the video games anymore. They make more money from cards and blankets and bed sheets and shit. So, but Mario. I mean, they like the movies. Like they're fine. But the other studios, I don't know, man. Rockstar again. To your point, GTA 6. They've already invested too much money.
Yeah.
For it to fail. It's too big to fail.
I know. Yeah, it's something like $1 billion, $2 billion in the investment or in the.
I do have faith
right
in
now
like
for GTA 6. It's stupid.
I have faith in that. As much as I'm the biggest curmudgeon in the thing, I will be shocked if GTA 6 isn't like the biggest hit of all hits.
Right.
But I did say that. Remember, I said Game of Thrones. It's a $100 million HBO show. They're not going to fuck up the finale. Just trust it. How many times I say that?
Yeah, and
it fucked me in
Oh.
So I didn't say it.
All right. Thank God for that.
Do you have a beep on this one? You don't have a beep on YouTube, do you? We can't bleep it
know.
like in the 50s.
I don't know.
It's a bummer. I'll try to
see
be
what I
safer.
can do on the
It
editing.
screwed me.
Yeah.
All right, in the back of a Volkswagen.
Right. All right.
Okay, but that's you will see. My point is though is let's give it up for the indie game people that are fucking rocking it out there and producing good content with actual artistic vision and reminding us of the 90s and reminding us of when the artists and the designers actually had the say and not a bunch of suits.
Dude,
trying to check some boxes.
We're bringing back the golden age. There's been a golden age of indie games when, those early 2000s, a lot of those, the Rockstar games with the Red Deads and the GTAs and a lot of big developers we know and love throughout the 2000s came up. We're entering back into the golden age of indie games. They are doing well. They've shown they can do well, and it's great to see. It's great to see.
It's a proclaim. It's a proclamation.
We're bringing back.
You've proclaimed it.
I've always been a great proclaimer.
I would walk 500.
That's the Proclaimers. Very good. Very good.
Because
John.
that's the Proclaimers.
Very good, Kernick.
Do you get
Yes.
it? Did you get it?
Get it. Yes. Yes.
This was a discussion that needed to be had. I wish we had more people. Where is everybody?
Yeah, it's a good
Slosser,
question. Let's make a
Jody,
let's make a note
Holland,
right now.
Joe,
to
number
just
one,
call
Joe,
out
number two.
Slosser, the Joes, the Holland. Holland needs to be back here. So
Gamble.
yeah, Gamble.
Gamble's a sexy guy, and he doesn't want to be on. What's going on there?
Yeah, we need to get him on. This is
Gamble
a call.
is. Slosser thinks Gamble's the greatest gamer of all time.
In our crew, Gamble is the goat. In our crew, Gamble.
I think he's the all-around best.
Yeah.
I'd still kick his ass in a couple games.
There's a couple games, but let me tell you a little story. Actually, in college, I went to college with Gamble, and I had a Sega Genesis in college. This was circa 2010. Okay, I had a Sega
Great
Genesis,
system.
and I had Street Fighter on the Sega Genesis, and I would play
He probably kicked
3
the
to 4
shit out of
times a week, just with my own practice and with other people in the dorm room. All of a sudden,
He's a fighting game guy.
Gamble comes along, not having played in 10 years, shows up, picks Chun-Li, whoops my ace first try. I'm saying, are you freaking kidding me? Gamble's the best gamer in our crew.
I think I can take him in Mortal Kombat, but I'm like Voldemort. Like I just choose not to fight him. You know, I'll fight everybody else. I'm afraid of him. Maybe.
You know, you're a good gamer, but my money's going on Gamble, baby.
Real fast, can I make a comment?
All right.
You were busting my chops last video about the Mortal Kombat trilogy from '95.
Oh, on the
You know,
Switch?
like it's got.
Yeah,
all
you
the,
bought the Switch
on the
too,
Switch.
just to get 1995 games. Yes.
I bought MK1, the newest Mortal Kombat game.
Oh,
The
one from 2024 or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a couple years ago, bro. I would rather play the '95 games over
Oh,
this
is
game.
it that bad? It didn't get good reviews at all.
It's just like not like first of all, again, big studio crap. They have cameos that to me break the
The
John
Joker?
Tobias lore from Mortal Kombat was incredible.
Wasn't the Joker in it or something?
Homelander, and like it's like come on, dude. Like it's like I just again big studio crap. NetherRealm Studios, Warner Brothers owned, agendas left and right, microtransaction necessary. Like it's like dude. Get the fuck out of here. MK1, MK2, MK3. Well, I'm not gonna say Midway was an indie studio because it wasn't, but that was very little. Do you think that had executive oversight? They got them dragged in front of Congress because they just did whatever they fuck they wanted. So to the point where they were like, oh yeah, we'll rip spines out. That'll be funny.
Creative,
not really
yeah.
thinking about the implications.
Creative freedom, baby.
You know, now to be fair, the Congress thing probably made them so much money because it made like it cool and bad and stuff. Different conversation. But my point is like. Let the artist be the artist. That's the fucking strength of the indie over this crap. They have less money, but there's no restraints, and that's the point. You know.
Yeah, well said.
Remember to be fair, last point in the Defiant ones, the HBO special about Jimmy Iovine,
Jimmy Iovine
the whole
and
story
Dr.
about
Dre.
how they build Interscope Records and
Right,
everything.
right.
Yeah. Remember the story about how when he goes in to talk to Trent Reznor and pitch him the stuff, and Trent Reznor's like he said he set it up on purpose to be super off-putting and have candles. He said he was looking like fucking Dracula, and then he just kind of was like. What were the two things Trent Reznor wanted? He said, I don't want a fucking executive in my fucking ear telling me to do shit when I'm trying to get an idea out. And he's like, okay, what else do you want?
What else you want? Yeah.
And he was like, I want to be able to sign my own bands without people telling me that I can't do it. And they were like, all right, what else do you want? And he was like, I don't know. That's all I want. So, and I signed the contract. And like the joke is that like that's all artists want. Like get out of my fucking way and I'll make you a good game.
Yeah.
And I think there's enough evidence out there in the last couple of years to show that we should maybe go back to that. But that's the end of my ranting.
Very good. Very good rant. One of your better rants that you've ever been on in North American history. So
I've always been a great ranter.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, thank you for joining. The rise of the indie game. We're gonna proclaim it. It's back, baby.
Is it the rise or is it the re-rise? It's the phoenix rising from the ashes of the 90s.
Just like Mario, as a phoenix from the ashes, brought back the 1983 crash. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, has brought back the indie game. How do you feel about that?
Wow. I'm going to go do push-ups and just jack me up. I got to go. I'm going to squat.
Right,
I'm going to go do squats.
All right. Love you, brother.